Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Builders Live. Have I got some beautiful plants to share with you today? In fact, I'm busy looking at them, and I'm like, yeah, I got a spot for you. I got a spot for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you know, that's what happens. When we go to a builder's, I actually don't know what happens, but my trolley gets really full. And I don't know how it happens, but next thing I know, I'm balancing seedling trays on the edge of the trolley, but that's what happens when you go into a beautiful shop where you can get what you want, and there's color, and it's winter color. It's such an exciting time. It's like it's yummy, it's yummy, it's yummy, it's yummy. So today we're talking about you're getting ready for winter, and guys, the winter blues, no, nada, nothing, not happening. So not happening, because if you are watching this, and if you have planted winter color, then you know what I'm talking about. Like, you and I on the, you got me. I know, you got me. You know that winter does not have to be dreary, that there is so much. I get super excited because it's that change in season, and some of you that live in the colder parts of the country get to experience that even more. I was up in Gauteng yesterday, and we were near Lanseria Airport, obviously, to fly home, and the colors on the trees, I wanted to pick whole branches and bring them back in the aeroplane, but I didn't think the air hostess would be that impressed. But the colors are just beautiful. The seasons are changing. There's so many beautiful things that we can embrace, and I urge you to maybe just have a pen and paper and take down 3 or 5 actionable items. Start with 3 if you're like a beginner gardener. If you're an early plant parent, then just start with just a few, but at least try some of these, guys, so that I can make sure that you do not have a Deborah winter. You don't have to, all honesty. So guys, good morning. Let's see who's with us. We know that the hour goes past in a flash, so let's say good morning very, very quickly. Pat Brown, good morning. Morning, Cindy May. Sybil. Oh, what did I just do to my computer there? Sybil, good morning. Tanya Visser, good morning. Good morning. Lindy Scott. What did you say, Lindy? Wait, no, I lost you there. Seedling trays balance nicely on the edge of a trolley. They do, hey? They do. When you take this, and it like this part here, this like there, and then I put it like that, you know, and it's like, there we go. You can add lots, and then if that gets full, you turn them this way, and then you can fit more. The problem is when you get to the car. Okay. And hopefully you haven't bought that like fancy car, but it doesn't matter. Nothing that a Hoover can't sort out. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad you get that. Mishaka, good morning from a beautiful UK. It's spring. It's spring in the UK. Yeah, it is. And your daffodils and your tulips and the poppies are out, and yummy. Elise, good morning. Renata, good morning from a rainy PE. Hallelujah. Amen. Yes. All the buckets are standing outside to catch the raindrops. You guys need it. Well done. Well done. Rainier, good morning from Pretoria. Debbie Burton, good morning from Leisure Bay. Kathy Raven from Bracken Hill, Cape Town. Let's see who else we've got here. There I go. Carla Stain. Raining in Cape Town. Yeah, it's been really warm here in KZN. Very, very warm. And I know that the cold is coming. So, yeah. And if it's there already, then I know. Amanda, good morning from the Strand. Betty from PE. Cheryl, good morning. Lindy Scott. Sharon Partington, I hope that's right, from Boksburg. Yvonne from a cool Hermanus. Guys, it's so good to see you all here with us. Really, really nice. Who else have we got here? Desiree, Ingrid, Gail. Gail Murray from Pennington, my old hometown. Ibrahim, good morning from Durban. Heidi Becker, Romy from Namibia. Ooh, what's weather like over there? What's cooking there? How do we? Yeah, I'd be very interested to know. Maureen, good morning. Adele, good morning. Joan, Celeste, Desiree, Sybil, Fran, Kathy. Oh, my word, my word, my word. Okay, guys, you are all here. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Can someone just check my little screen there? It seems to have gone to sleep. Oh, look, it's on strike. Okay, it'll come back. Right, guys, let's talk about winter prep. Now, winter prep determines the outcome of your spring garden, beginning and end. It is, if you do not do what you need to do now, you are going to be mightily disappointed. And then, unfortunately, what happens beyond that, which will only happen in about September, if you're in the Cape, late October, you will end up suffering from one of the 7 deadly gardening sins. There are 7, and one day I might share them with you, but I will tell you the one that you are going to suffer from if you do not listen to me today and make these actionable items. You are going to suffer from garden envy, jalousheid. I know, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's where, you know that emoji, the green face? You know that green face emoji? I don't know what it is, like a gremlin. You're going to walk into your friend's home, garden, patio, whatever. Their primulas are going to be in full flower. The delphiniums are going to be sparking. The foxies are going to be foxing. The broad beans are going to be having the most beautiful broad beans on them. The little book by Feichies are going to be in full flower, and you're going to say, oh, I better go off and buy some of these. You know what? It's too late. Too late. Klaar gepraat. So you have got to do it now. You really have to. And I cannot urge you even more. In fact, maybe we need billboards or something. We need like a serious message. You've got to do this work now to be abundantly blessed with color through the winter and into the spring months. And for me, it is a truly exciting time. And just to start off with, I want you to come along here and to give you an idea. So these are the dahlia bulbs. It's the last of the summer dahlias that we have just picked because we're about to put these bulbs to sleep. We're taking them out of the garden, digging them out, and then drying them and putting them in a cool, dark place, ready for next season. And this vibrant color of a beautiful summer is now being put to bed to make way for our winter bulbs. And we've spoken a bit about them, but I just want to remind you, it's just like a little, you must just remember, because in these winter bulbs, folks, once again, it is top priority that you get them in, okay? Get them in. Remember, you can still plant them up until the end of June, okay? Up until the end of June. So you still got some time, so plan those. Can you believe we're in like the middle of May? What happened? I blinked. I was in February, and I blinked, and then I'm in May. But, you know, life happens. I don't know. It's happened to you guys as well. I hope I'm not the only one. The daffodil bulbs this season, guys, I've been mightily impressed with. We know that daffodils have been in scarce. They've had some crop issues. But this year, they got it right. Eh? And the bulbs are big, gorgeous, voluptuous. They're looking healthy. And I have got a box that I'm itching to plant that are waiting there. So get your daffodils and get your Dutch irises. I mean, Dutch irises. My birthday is not complete if my cousin doesn't give me a bunch of purple Dutch irises. Because every birthday, my mom used to send me a bunch of purple Dutch irises. And you know, that's what gardening does. It's nostalgic, it's remembrance, it's all those lovely things. So get your bulbs in, guys. because your summer guys are coming out now. You're getting those out and you pop those in. Now, if you're wondering how to plant bulbs, how do you go about it? Guys, on the Builders YouTube channel, get onto the Builders YouTube channel and just search bulbs. And I think we've got 5 or 6 videos there of how to plant them in soil and water, how to take care of them. There is so much there that is going to help you. So don't stress if you're not too sure and if you like a virgin bulb planter. It's okay. We're going to hold your hand and you're going to get there. Okay, so first off, most importantly, look what's all around me. The most beautiful leaves. Beautiful leaves. Every garden has this. Isn't it lovely? Just the sound enough. Just the sound. Isn't that the earth? Isn't that like Mother Nature? Like beckoning us to do something with these. And if you are in the minority, note I said minority, that rake up your leaves and then put them in a municipal disposal bag to get taken away by your municipality, then naughty you. Nah, naughty, 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 naughty. Because this, my friends, is what makes good gardens. This is what's going to set you apart and your garden apart from your neighbor's garden if you use the simple, and might I add, if you hadn't worked it out, free, gratis, vir niks, niks, niets, niks. Verniet, sorry. Just been auto-cued there. It is free. It's free. And we have them in our gardens. And if you don't have them in your garden, if you don't have a tree that's blessing you with this, then drive around and pick up leaves. Take a black plastic bag and stop on the side of the road and pick up leaves. There's a pine tree down the road, down our road, that I go with black bags. I know, and people think I'm kookalulu, but it sheds the most beautiful autumn leaves. It's actually a taxodium, and its leaves turn, its spindles actually turn bright red. And I go in there and I pick up bags of it and I bring it and I put them around my camellias, I put them around the hydrangeas, all the acid-loving plants, and it makes the most beautiful mulch. So this, my friends, is what we've got to hold on to, because if we use the leaves in different forms, we are going to do a whole lot to the garden. So first of all, plain leaves like this, what can you do with them? Well, we know we can just take them and put them on our garden beds, plain and simple. Yep, put them on the soil. When you put them on the soil, you are mulching, the act of mulching. When you mulch, you are trapping the heat where the soil is. You are trapping it, which means on those very cold nights, when the temperature is going to drop really, really low, the soil is still going to remain warm. And that's very important for the health of our plants, because very cold soil and damp soil, cold and damp, does not lead to good growth. Okay, so if we've got warm soil and we've trapped that warmth in there, the plants are going to be happier. Plus, remember all the other attributes of mulch that it can add into our gardens. It stops the weeds. When this breaks down, okay, it turns into this. Ooh, look at this here. Ooh, look at that. Look at this. This is what we call leaf mold. So this is what we've done, is literally we've taken these leaves, added a bit of lawn clippings, thrown it in a black bag, put a bit of water in, left it there for a few months, and it's turned into this. This is beautiful leaf mold. And if you want to know how to make this like a pro, then also go and search that on the Builders YouTube channel, where we go into it in depth. Eventually, over time, the leaves will turn into this, but by putting it in a black bag and doing our few little magic tricks, we like speed it up, gets on steroids, and we turn it into beautiful leaf mold. Leaf mold can be added to your potting soils, can be used as a mulch. You can even sieve it and use it as a seedling mix. And all you're doing is adding that beautiful organic content back into your soil. So we're giving back. We're adding. Every time we plant, we need to add to the soil. Okay, so on mulching, we've spoken about your lawn clippings. Guys, Obviously, your mowing is really reduced. We're only mowing once a week now. We were mowing twice a week until just about 3 weeks ago. And literally just, boom, somebody turned off the light switch. And temperatures have got cooler. So we're only mowing once a week now. But those lawn clippings that we have got, we are taking them, putting them on the compost heap. We either taking them and spreading them on the garden beds. Remember, you may use the lawn clippings with confidence in your garden beds if your lawn seeds, if the weeds in the lawn have not flowered. Okay, so listen up carefully. If you have allowed the weeds in the lawn to flower and then you mow, okay, it's like common sense. You're picking up all the seeds and then you're going to go and dump that on your garden beds. Okay, not so cool. So mow before the weeds flower if you have got weeds in the lawn. Okay, very, very important. And we just take this, pop this onto the compost heap, use it as a mulch around the garden beds, and it's fantastic. Of course, if you want neat, like precision, if you want precision, and you don't like this free kind of boho look, there are two ways of dealing with it. Number one is to increase your medication, and by day 3, you'll be loving it. The other way is that you can pop along to your local builders and you can get some pine bark nuggets. Now, the pine bark nuggets are exactly what they are, what we say. They're quite uniform. You get the large and then you get the much smaller ones, which can be used quite effectively, very effectively as a mulch around pots in garden beds. And once again, because it's an organic material, it does break down in time. Okay, so it does break down and go back into the soil. But of course, this comes at a cost, and this over here, on my right, is for free. So, yeah, it's just, it's this abundance that is available to us now. And this is what can really make a difference in our gardens. And I really cannot stress it enough. I really, really cannot. Okay, so we know we should be mulching. We've got all these beautiful leaves, and that's what you should do. Now, a couple of other things that are high on the list of what you should be doing when winter is coming along now. So, importantly, if you're in a frost zone, if you're in a frost area and you're prone to frost, you have got to watch the weather app. Guys, you just have to. If you have got soft, tender plants, if you've got any tropical plants or any young trees that you know are going to be susceptible to frost, then you've got to keep an eye out, okay, for when temperatures plummet. And you've got to make sure that you've gone along to your local builders and you have got your frost cover. Okay, frost cover, very important, folks. It is important because don't be the one where the frost comes along, the next morning you wake up and you say, oh dear, we should have put down the frost cover last night. Well, it's a bit late, okay, it's a bit late. If, however, your plants do frost, if they do frost and they have had damage, please do the following. Do not prune away the damaged material. Don't. Because that damaged material actually, when the next frost arrives, actually protects the plant. So rather leave it there. You're going to leave it for the winter until your new growth pushes through. Okay, very important because some of us, and I know it's hard because like it's looking there and it's got a few like crinkled leaves and stuff, but it's important that you leave it there. Right, so frost cover, guys. It's a fabric which we put around plants, we wrap around plants, we wrap around trees, and what it does is it just helps to insulate the plant. The most amazing thing is that with frost cover is that you can actually leave it on the plants the entire winter because the plants can still photosynthesize through this membrane. So that's quite a bonus, actually. Let me get this off here. And it's very sticky. So let's have a look here. So you can see with the frost cover here that it's quite see-through, okay? And what you can do is you put this over your plants. And it's very important that you put it over the right way, that you really tuck it in. Tuck it in at soil level. If you have got lollipops, that you're worried about, then most certainly cover the lollipop, and I'd also go down the stem. And you've got to put it around there and seal it up. You can use a bit of duct tape, something to tie it up. And in the garden, you can even just use a few spikes to get it in. Preferably, if it's in the garden, I would actually dig a little bit, put it in, and then cover it. So you've almost buried the frost cover in. So if you're busy and you're short on time, guys, one of the easiest ways is you can leave it on, and that is the beauty. You can leave it on, your plants will photosynthesize, and they'll be very happy. All that you need to do is take a piece of it. Let's have a look here. That should be about enough. I'm going to cut it off, and you can keep the stuff. It lasts for years. So just remember where you've put it. That's all I need you to remember, which I know sometimes is the most difficult part. So if it's a container like this, and this is just purely for example purposes, is that I know this is Buxus, which is frost tolerant, but if you had an impatiens in here, if you had if you had some lettuce, if you had some soft plants that you were concerned about, then you would simply take it, wrap it right to the base, wrap it around, and make sure that it is also covering the top. Okay, very, very important. Okay, so over here, that's where we'd use a bit of tape. Tape it on there, stick it there so that it stays. Okay, you can also just tear this, and we've done this in the past. You can just tear it like that and tear it on the other side, and you can actually just tie it. So that also does help when you're in difficult areas. So you can just make a little loop there, tie it up, and there we go. Okay. Over here, because this is a terracotta pot, they actually work incredibly well as insulators, natural insulators, because it's a clay. But if this was in the garden, remember what I said to you, we'd bring it down and we would actually put some soil on top of this. Put some soil on top of this, or else try and bury this into the soil. Important to do that so that you're not letting any cold air come through here and get into your frost cover. But there he is, nice and wrapped up. Our plant will be happy for the rest of the winter, and that is critical. You know, plants expensive, guys. So we don't want to, muck around, and we want to make sure that our investment is safe, and that we really do look after them. Very, very important. Very, very important. Okay, guys. What I want to switch to now is the beautiful plants that we've got available now. I was speaking about the color. I was talking about all those amazing things that we can plant. And so I want to start off by talking about basic bedding. Now, when we talk about basic bedding, I'm talking about the color. And I've got an array of beautiful little violas. Violas are the first to normally pop onto the shelves. Pansies, which are these, have just started coming in. And I mean, just look at these. They are just too spectacular. And so these are the violas. They're the little guys, okay? You can see the violas are the cousins of the pansy, which is bigger. So pansy has a bigger face. You can see that. And the violas are dainty. Now, both of these, pansies, violas, are edible. I mean, look at the size difference there. David Goliath. So cute, so cute. And don't you love the contrasts in the colors there? I mean, I just love it. That contrast in the yellow and the mauve is just too spectacular. And these little guys seriously pack a punch. For me, as my personal choice, is that I plant more violas than I do pansies. I'm not really into the largeness or the how big the flower in. I just want color. And you can see immediately when we compare a tray of pansies to a tray of violas. Look at how many flowers are on here compared to there. So I always go for these. Also, I just find that they last longer into the summer months. We've had some violas going right through until Jan in the garden. January, really? I'm telling you, right into January into the garden. So this is what I prefer. Remember, with violas, pansies, with either of them, they're fantastic in pots. They're great in hanging baskets, window boxes. Important as well that you can also use them as bedding, as mass planting in your garden beds, but they need sun. Guys, do not plant them in a spot unless it gets a minimum of 5 hours sunlight a day. Please, 5 hours sunlight. And if you don't know if it gets 5 hours of sunlight, then go and check it out tomorrow morning. But it has to have 5 hours sunlight, or else they are not going to have all these flowers. They are not going to do what you need them to do. Couple of things with pansies and violas, just as some simple maintenance tips on how we keep them looking good, is the following. Remember, and I go on about this, is deadheading. Deadheading, one of the simplest gardening tasks in the world, and you can do it whilst you're on your telephone. I'm just going to get my little pair of scissors. You can do this whilst you're having your cup of coffee and you're walking around the garden. Why? Because if you do it the way I do it, I've got a cup of coffee in this hand, and whilst I'm walking around and I'm checking the plants, I can deadhead at the same time. So it's a dual action activity. Have a look here. This little viola has gone over and it's now starting to produce seed. Okay, there's the little seed there. You can actually see the little seed pods. We're not interested in seeds, guys. We don't want the seeds. We want flowers. Because now what this little plant is doing, all its energy is being put into the seed. Gotta make more for next season. Because that's what a plant is bred to do. So all we do is thumb and forefinger, okay? Thumb and forefinger, follow it down into the plant and then just nip it off. That's what you want. That's deadheading. Let's show you on another one here. Here's a little stalk. Okay, this guy's finished flowering. Thumb and forefinger, follow it all the way down to where it joins the plant and nip it off. Easy as that. Easy as that. This, however, is not deadheading. That is not deadheading. You see where you've left the stalks? When you leave the stalks there, here they are. They're the stalks. When you leave those stalks, I guarantee you, I'm telling you right now, if you leave those stalks and you come back a couple of weeks later, what you will find is there's some grey mold that's growing on those stalks. That plant has not yet pushed through new flowers because its energy is still going in there. It's like Ashcom. That's like put the wrong breaker up, you know, and the power's not going. Well, it's going somewhere. You know what I mean? Oh, that was terrible. Not very PC. But anyway, you know what I mean, guys. What's important is that you deadhead, please. If you do this, and you know, if you let it get out of hand, okay, because if you've planted a lot of these, it can get out of hand. If it gets out of hand, just take a little blankie, put it down on the garden, on the lawn, wherever, near the pot, sit yourself down and just do some deadheading. When I tell you it's therapeutic, you'll know it once you've done it. You will just know it. And you do this, and they will carry on giving and giving and giving. Okay, so that's pansies and violas. There is something to suit anyone's color scheme, taste, whatever it might be. And I can't wait to get mine in. I really, really can't wait. Okay, now besides those little guys, what else is there in color that we can now start putting into the garden? Okay, we're going to go to some of the big guys. Okay, so now pansies and violas are your foreground, like right on the edge. If this was my garden bed here, pansies, violas here. Okay, foreground. Then we want to, remember it's that crescendo. We want that. We want that arc. When we have that arc, that's when we get depth into our beds. And even if it's a pot, the same thing. Height in the middle, height, medium, low. So your pansies and violas are all around the edge. Okay, but I'm going to show you some others now that we must plant now to get that height. I did forget about this, which are, unfortunately it's not in flower, but it's little blue lobelia. You get blue lobelia, you get white lobelia. Treat it the same as a pansy or a viola. Oh, mounds of blue and white. And they're also great for edgings Same, exactly the same application, but they are absolutely beautiful, and they're really vigorous. I mean, they're really vigorous. You can see, look at this beautiful root system here. And with all of these, when you open them up and you pop them out the tray, guys, all I want you to do is just tease these roots open just a little bit like that. Just like that. So we're now telling the roots, right, when I plant you, I'm going to go off and search. I'm not going to carry on going round and round. Especially with lobelia, because they have got a very vigorous root system. Okay. Oh, I didn't show you this guy. I mean, look at this. Look at that. Isn't he lovely? Look at the size of this flower. I'm going to pick it to show you on the size of my hand. May stay there. Look at the size of that flower. And this is early season. So the colder it gets, the better and the bigger the flowers become. Okay, I didn't say I was into size, but this is quite amazing. Did I say that? Right, so it's beautiful. It really is. It really, really is. Okay, let's put that away. Now, your next level is going to be your petunias and your poppies. Okay, guys, petunias, if you live in Gauteng, if you're in KZN, if you're in summer rainfall areas, this is your go-to plant now for winter. If you're in the Western Cape, nada for petunias, because they do not like the rain. Okay, this is your rainy season in the Western Cape that we're coming into. Petunias are not, or they don't enjoy the rain on their petals. Look at this here. When they get rained on, look at that. Can you see these little speckles here? The flowers get damaged. Okay, you can see right in here, these tiny little speckles, and the flower gets damaged, which is why we plant them. If you're in Gauteng, any summer rainfall area, you plant them in winter. Exactly the same, lots of sun, and remember to deadhead. Same principle. Once the flower is there, follow it all the way down. Even this over here, what we call the little calyx. Follow it all the way down to where it joins the plant and remove it with stem intact. Okay, that is going to encourage more flowers. These are called picotees. A picotee is anything that has got a little edging. And the picotees are lovely. From blues to whites, there was always something, and they really do an amazing job. Then we've got our Iceland poppies. Iceland poppies are low growers. So the plant doesn't get very big. It gets about that big. They send up tall spikes. Beautiful reds, oranges, yellows, which the bees just adore. And poppies, you must put in now. They're great in the beds, just into the bed, so behind your poppies, behind your pansies and your violas. And the more you pick them for the vase, the more they will flower for you. And then in sun, further back into the bed, we're going to plant delphiniums. Delphiniums, if you don't know what they look like, in fact, I've got a packet of seed here that has, these are delphiniums. No, these are stocks. Where are my delphiniums? I'm sure I had some here. Oh, that's the blue lobelia. That's the blue lobelia that I was mentioning a little bit earlier. I'm sure I had some. No, I don't. Oh, dear. Okay. Delphiniums, kind of something like this, but tall. Really, really tall. And they get to about 1 meter, 1.2 meters in height. Long spikes of flowers. Long spikes of flowers. Also great for picking. And they give you that color deep into borders, which is spectacular. For the shade, foxies. Foxgloves, guys. Plant them into shade or even into dappled shade to get some color. And of course, primulas as well do the job. So there is so much, but besides what I've just told you about, and these are the plants that you can buy now at your local builders, they are there and they are waiting to be able to be put into your garden to give you loads of winter color. Now, if you put these in and you look after them, and when I mean look after them, what am I talking about? I'm saying that when I mean look after them, I mean, you got a deadhead and you got to feed. Guys, it's important that you feed these little plants. especially if they are in containers, because the healthier they are, the better they're going to perform. So Nutri-Feed is one option. This is a powder, a very, very fine granular form. Basically, you're going to dilute 10 grams per liter. You can use it on young veggies, you can use it in containers, even your indoor plants. Nutri-Feed is a very good, well-balanced fertilizer. You can also use Multi-Grow, which is an organic based. This is 5 mils into 5 liters of water, okay? And this as well does a fantastic job. So either of these, I would like alternate between the two of them personally, because I always alternate between fertilizers or liquid fertilizers, whatever I'm doing. So if the one lacks something, the other one can make up for it the next time. Okay, I believe there's some questions, so let's get to the queue, guys, and let's have a look. And 1 second. Oh, I put in the wrong password. Let's have a look here. Right, let's get to it. Nigel Desmond asked, primulas in the shade? Yes. Nigel, primulas in the shade or in dappled shade, they can also actually do in an early morning sun. Try and avoid anything from, say, 11 o'clock onwards. They dry out. As soon as they dry out, they get stressed, and their flowering finishes really quickly. So you kind of shorten their lifespan, because obviously you're putting them through stress. So early morning sun, anything after 11 o'clock, try and avoid. And dappled shade under trees. I mean, I plant them under trees here, and they are just beautiful because they've got that fairy look, and they give you that woodland feel. Gata wants to know, please share about strawberry care during winters. Should hanging planters be in frost cover, or they'll survive Botswana winters? I don't know how. No, you get cold. Oh, no, you get cold. Okay, no, you got to wrap them up, huh? Wrap up your babies. Definitely frost cover. Must do that. And mulch. Mulch around your strawberry plant. So what I was chatting to you about a little bit earlier, about putting all the mulch around to help keep the soil warm, and you must cover. Very important. And not only that, by covering them, what also happens is that you keep away a lot of the hohos. Okay. We've got another question here from Karen and Taylor. Is it a good time to cut lavender back, or should I just leave it? Karen, I'm going to tell you to leave it. Okay, if it was a few weeks earlier, I would have said go for it. But we're into that. We're already into the cooler times. So I would leave it now. I would wait for it to flower. They flower late winter, early spring. I would leave it until it's finished flowering in spring, and then I would give it a pruning. Okay, so the golden rule: when do you prune something? When it's finished flowering. Okay, just remember that. When do you prune it? I'll repeat it. When it's finished flowering. Okay, very, very important. Right, now, what else have we got? Guys, it's that time. It is that time where you are going to find your local builders adorned with the most stunning pelargoniums. We plant pelargoniums like en masse through the winter months because they enjoy the dryness. They really don't enjoy our wet summers. They really don't. Up in the Highveld, Gauteng, you can plant them all year round, but you're going to find they're actually going to be happier if you plant them now into your containers, into your garden beds. Remember, with geraniums, try not to water the foliage, okay? Please, don't water the foliage, and it sounds like doof, but don't water the foliage, water the soil, because they are prone to getting powdery mildew and that if you do, water the foliage. So rather water the soil, please. They are hungry feeders, so make sure you're using one of those products I was telling you about. And the other thing is exactly the same with deadheading. Look at that. It's about going over. Here's the promise. They're the new ones, trying to push through. But energy's still going there, so we follow the stalk all the way down to where it joins the plant and just snap it off. There we go. Done and dusted. Finished. So plant them because they're beautiful. They are just spectacular. Okay, right. And guys, going into winter, of course, we cannot forget about aloes. Aloes are going to be in your local builders now. They are such beautiful, beautiful varieties available. Remember, this is the dwarf guy. So this is called Peri Peri, which is probably, Peri Peri is probably one of the most spectacular dwarf aloes. Remember, with the dwarf aloes, you saw me touching it here. Their spines are not hard at all. So they won't poke your eye out, they won't scratch you. They remain dwarf, 40 centimeters, 30 centimeters wide, flower right through the winter, great in containers. Sunbirds love them, and they are easy to care for. Most importantly, they don't require a lot of water. So from yellows to oranges to these little dwarfs, have a look, because there are lots and lots of dwarf aloes that can be used. I see there's another question here from Nigel. How do I look after geraniums in our wet Cape Town winters? Nigel, you'll be pleased to know that if you've had your geranium growing, okay, so I don't know if you're planting a new one or if you've got one in the ground, but either way, just make sure that whenever you are planting, that you plant in a really well-drained soil. It's important. So if some of your areas are in your garden are kind of boggy, where water collects, when you get a lot of rain, don't plant it there, okay? Do not. Plant it in well-drained soil in the garden. If you are going to plant, you dig and you see that the soil is quite clayey, I would strongly recommend that you put a thick layer of gravel at the bottom of the hole, and then just use an ordinary potting soil as your filler. It's just really important that it's very well drained, and keep your plant healthy. If you've got a healthy plant, they're more than likely not to get diseases. So lots of sun and keep it well fed, and then you should be fine. Gail wants to know, rose care in Natal, my iceberg roses are leggy at the moment. Okay, Gail, they are leggy because it's normal. We've got to the end of summer. They've grown and grown and grown and grown. It's nearly time for you to prune them. In KZN, we would prune our roses anytime from the second, third week of July going forward. You can prune them now, depending on if you are very cold. If you are very, very cold, you can prune them a bit earlier. But if you're in more of a temperate area in KZN, which doesn't get all that frost, you can prune them much later. But my advice, that's kind of what the rose gurus will tell you. My advice now, if they're looking long and leggy, give them a haircut. You won't kill them. I promise you, you won't. So for me, cut them down by half. Reduce the height of the plant by at least half, down to an outward facing bud or any bud. That's where you're going to prune. Get some slow release fertilizer, an organic fertilizer. There's several that you can use. You could use 315, put a good handful around it, around your iceberg rose, 1 or 2 handfuls sprinkled around. You could also use Flower and Fruit, which has got an additive of a fertilizer in it, plus its pelletized chicken litter, or you can use Bio Ocean, which is seaweed and chicken litter. Okay, either of these 3 are really good. Use them, put it around the roses, and give them a good watering, because you then, once you've pruned, you've got the guy going again. And he says, right, now I've got to grow. Now I've got to grow. Okay, right. One of my favorites, guys, for winter, one of my favorites for winter are the little helichrysums. And you're going to find those now in your local builders. And they're called the paper flower. Listen here. Can you hear them? I mean, this is a living flower. Seriously? But it feels like paper. It feels like it's dead. Yeah, they're the paper flowers. Helichrysum, you get them in white, you get them in the shocking pink and in the yellow. And it's also not too late to sow them by seed. So you can also sow these guys, and you'll have some lovely helichrysum through the colder months and into spring. We planted these. They need lots of sun, and they need a very well-drained soil, guys. Very, very important. Loads of sun, and don't overwater them. If you overwater them, they are not going to be happy. Really not happy. But helichrysums, I really do love them. And of course, you can pick the flowers. You can pick them, and they'll keep that color. They'll keep that color for the rest of their lives, which is quite amazing, isn't it? Yeah, quite amazing. Okay, right. I want to get on to veggies because a lot of folks want to know, well, what can they sow now? What can be done? And of course, there is a lot to do. So let's come over here. Mason, if you can come around here, and we're going to go through some of the veggies that you can sow now or plant in your veggie gardens. So, of course, all your lettuce, your crispy lettuce, do incredibly well if you're in a frost area. Remember, you do need to cover them, okay? Of course, it's time to sow broad beans, ordinary beans, peas. You must sow broad beans now, and your peas. All your frilly lettuce, Asian greens, it's a wonderful time to put them in now. They enjoy the cold. And of course, this is ornamental kale, which is not eaten, but by golly, it gives you beautiful colors in the garden. Great for bedding, for edging. They really do a good job. And it's a cabbage. I mean, it gets big. It gets like huge like that, but really frilly and very, very ornamental. This is part of your Asian greens. These are tsatsoi. So we get bok choy, which is the taller one. This is tsatsoi, which is the dwarf one. They can be eaten raw. They can be picked and just used flash fried in any stir fries, salads. They really work well, packed with vitamins as well. So, and one thing that I didn't touch on, of course, is what color we can use in and around our veggie gardens. And as a companion plant, do plant calendulas. Calendulas, they brighten up any winter veggie garden or even garden bed. And remember, calendulas, you can, excuse me, you can eat the petals. Calendulas, you can eat the petals. And when you squish them like this, and you add them to a bit of butter, so squish them, mix them in with a bit of butter, and they turn the butter into like a nuttiness. So we pick a few flowers like that, we squish it into the butter, and we eat it on crackers. High in vitamin C. I got a frog in my throat. I need a sip of water over here. So we mush it up, and then we just use it over cracker breads, and it is so delicious. And calendulas work as a great companion in the veggie garden, and not only in the veggie garden, but also just in your ordinary flower garden. So do plant them. I love the fact that you can eat them. And of course, probably the most iconic of all flowers for winter are sweet peas. Sweet peas, guys. If you haven't sown your sweet peas, you can buy them as growing plants, but sow them. I mean, they're so simple. Excuse the pun. They really are easy. The fact that the seeds are big makes life, well, a whole lot easier. All I want you to do is to remember the night before you're going to sow your seeds is just to take your seeds, pop them into a little container, and just add a bit of water, because you'll see the sweet pea seed is hard. I mean, this is like, it's hard. It's really hard. And the little embryo has to crack through that, has to crack through this hard outer coating. So what we do is we add some water, and we just let them soak there. Leave them overnight. Just leave them. That little hard outer coating is going to soften up, and it's actually going to crack, okay? And then you sow them. Then you sow your seeds, and you can sow them in situ, so right there where you want them to come up, and you can have a little trellis or something. And the most important thing with sweet peas is as soon as they've germinated and they've started growing, when your sweet peas get to this height, take a look here, very important. When your sweet peas are about 10 centimeters, you must, and I know it sounds awful, but you've got to do this. I need you to pinch that little growing tip. Do you see that growing tip? Pinch it out. You must pinch this out. Why? Because when you pinch this out, what you're doing is you're forcing more side growth. So what happens now is we pinch that out, it's going to send out more side growth. When we have side growth, that eventually ends up giving us flowers. And nothing says spring quite like a bunch of sweet peas. It's beautiful. And if you're worried about having to put up a fence or or a big piece of trellis. What have I got? Oh, I've got flowers attached to me. If you're worried about, like, oh, that's such a hack, Tanya, like, honestly, do I have to go and put up now a whole hedge or a fence or something so my sweet peas can grow on? Absolutely not. At your local builders, you can find one of these little concertina trellises that all you do is you open it up like that. You put a little bamboo stake, one on this side, one on that side, tie it with the cable tie, and you have got a trellis. And when the sweet peas are over, you can just pack it away again. Nice and easy. People tell me, oh, it's such a drag, it's so difficult. It's not difficult, guys. I mean, there are some of the easiest little teepees in that to create for whether it is your sweet peas, whether it's for your climbers, and especially now for peas, if to make a little teepee. And it's a simple thing, but we need to be reminded. It's just 3 stakes like that, tied up together, and that's it. And then you plant your peas around near the edges. You plant them there. In the inside, you can plant a lettuce. You can even sow some smaller plants which will enjoy being in the inside and in the slight shade. And there you've got it. And when it's done, you just take it out. So we need to get more creative and a little bit more practical on how we're doing these things. Right. Mari says, Mari Small says, my aloes have perished due to some sort of worm. Got to the garden one morning and the heads just fell clean off. Ooh, okay. Mari, I know what you've got there. It's actually a beetle that burrows into the top of the aloe and it causes major, major damage. I want you to get one of the following products. So, yeah, we can use this and we can use this. So there are a couple of short-term solutions that you can use. Number one is you can get one of this. This is a ready to use. So all you would do is you would go into the center where that aloe is and you would spray with this. Okay, so this is a ready to use. You can get the equivalent, which is which you've got to dilute, and you put that into the center so it will kill that beetle. Plus, on top of that, I would use this, okay? Your coin oil, you dilute into water, okay? So in your coin oil, it's going to have, here we go, it's going to have a little syringe. Follow your instructions. It's 1 ml per liter of water. Put the coin oil into a watering can, into a watering can, 5 liters, 5 mils, whatever it is. Go to your aloe and pour it around the aloe into the soil, okay? This is a systemic insecticide. It's going to get taken up into the roots and it will prevent any further damage of that beetle. But it is important to do that. Okay, Joanne, if we cover the plants with the shade cloth, do we need to remove all the shade cloth each time we want to water the plants? Okay, but if you're covering them with shade cloth, okay, you may be meaning frost cover. Okay, if you're covering them with frost cover, no, you don't need to remove the frost cover when you're watering them, because remember, you're not watering the foliage, you're watering the soil. And the water will actually go through and penetrate through that frost cover. So no, you don't need to worry about that. You just leave it on there. Okay, Shirley wants to know, why are my primula's leaves going yellow and the plant dies? Okay, Shirley, that is generally a sign, the 2 signs. Number one, and you're going to think, oh, Tanya, this is a really silly answer, but it's 2. It's either they're getting too much sun, okay, and they've dried out. The other thing is they're getting too much water. So if they are waterlogged, if they are not, and there's not enough drainage, that is more than likely, but I am erring to the dry. I am erring on that side where the leaves are turning yellow and they have dried out. But remember, extreme drought or extreme wet doesn't bode well for plants, and especially with the primulas. So please so look at your soil and only water once that soil is dry. Okay, and I would, if they are if they are battling right now, which it seems like they are, I would give them what I call my tonic. So I'm very lucky that my family actually hasn't been given this when they're feeling a bit off color. But when any plant in my garden is looking a bit off color, one or two leaves going yellow and I can't really work it out, or I've transplanted something into the garden, or I've planted something, I use Root Pro. Root Pro is a trichoderma. It's a friendly fungus that protects your plants and helps good roots. Okay, it's like amazing. It's like having a tonic. It's like a supercharger. So I would give it some Root Pro. It's a brilliant product. I mean, tell you, anything that is sick, it's got a sniffle, it's got off color slightly, you give it Root Pro, and I guarantee you that plant will come back in a flash. There are 3 sachets in there. You dilute a sachet into a liter of water, and it works like a bomb. Okay, now, quickly. Other things to sow before it gets too cold, guys. And this is the window. Before it gets too cold, Californian poppies, must, okay? Bok-by fagies, must. Osteos, must. And of course, African daisies. Guys, all of these are so easy, so easy. Really, they require very little effort, truly, very little effort in terms of how to get them going, of sowing them and looking after them. It really is very, very simple. Most of them are indigenous and they're pretty tough as well. And then finally, I wanted to share something that's very exciting with you. Coming in the next few weeks, maybe months, just keep an eye out, are these guys, which are going to be available at your local builders. And these are microgreens. And look at these here. Ooh, these are microgreens that I sowed just last week. Yeah, this is kale. Beautiful kale microgreen. We know that microgreen, 40 times more nutrition than the adult plant. Brilliant for digestion, fiber, nutritional, plus they're really yummy as well, and so simple and easy. You can taste that there. Yummy. So keep an eye out for these in your local builders in the next few months or weeks to come. Guys, as always, it's been a cracker. I see there's one more question here from Janine. I live in Malmesbury, the Western Cape. What veggies can I plant as a first-time planter? Okay, Janine, I'm going to go through the basics. Turnips, beetroot, you're not going to get frost there, so you can go with all your lettuce, all your Chinese greens, broad beans, yes, cabbages, anything that belongs to that family. So that's cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, you can plant those. But of course, if you are always stuck, and remember, if you need extra in gardening, please guys, remember, get hold of my magazine. This is a part of me in here. And if you've missed out on any information, please go along to your local builders and pick up the copy of The Gardener or Detainir. Everything is in here, from what to sow, what to harvest, what to plant, how to prune, and how not to. And of course, loads of inspiration. Grow to Eat is also available at your local builders, which of course for you, Janine, is going to tell you everything that you need now for your autumn and winter months. Plus, gardening by the moon. Guys, remember to visit the blog, the Builders blog. That's builders.co.za. Also go to the YouTube channel where you're going to find more like this and other great videos to inspire you. Till next time I meet up with you, I hope to have full report backs that your gardens are now full of their winter color, and I hope that you get to it and make sure that your winter is not dreary. From me to you, God bless you all. Thank you for lending me your ears and your hearts. God bless you all. Until next time, always happy gardening.